Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of
What Anna Said
podcast. For those of you who are new here, maybe you just discovered us. Welcome. We're so happy you're here.
Welcome.
Yes, and for those of you who have followed us since the beginning and have kept up with all our episodes, we appreciate your support and we just thank you for joining us here again on our couch. Today we have a special guest today.
Yes.
And if you've been watching from the beginning, you know that Sienna likes to join our episodes here and there. So we do have Sienna joining us again. That is Sally's youngest. She is 4 months old.
Yes.
Okay. Forgive your auntie. Okay.
She said, get it together.
Yes, you're right, girl. So Sienna is joining us today. And what a perfect day to join us, Sienna, because today we're actually talking about stay-at-home moms and working moms.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We decided we wanted to dive into that topic because it has come up a lot in our recent episodes, and whether it was returning to work or staying at home.
Yep.
That is what we're going to cover today. So Sienna's here to jumpstart this episode for us. Is that right, Sienna? Yes, that was an affirmative from Sienna. So Sally, I'm just gonna jump right straight to you because if you know Sally, like I know Sally growing up, Sally was always a working girly.
That's right.
She was always grinding.
Work.
Always had her career in mind.
That's all she knew.
She was motivated toward her career, and everything changed once you had babies. So Sally, I'll let you go ahead and tell your story on that.
Thank you, Anna. I know, as you mentioned, I've always been, business minded, and I never imagined that I would ever want to be a stay-at-home mom. It just wasn't something that I ever thought about.
Yes.
I mean, when you talk to a little girl and you ask her, what do they want to be when they grow up, or how they envision their life, imagining a beautiful wedding and then the children and so forth.
Yes.
None of that was on my mind. And so when I had Samson, had all these plans, I'll have the baby, go back to work after my maternity leave. But once I had Samson, once they laid him on my chest,
that's right,
everything changed. I mean, my perspective on life itself changed. I feel like it just opened up another world for me.
It really did.
After I had him, that's when I started to have that inner conflict of, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to be the main caregiver. I do not want to have someone come and watch my kid while I'm working, or then even paying, the amount of money that's required most times if you decide to have do daycare or pay a little babysitter, a live-in sitter, or a nanny, I didn't want to pay someone else to do it.
That totally makes sense, especially when this is the one thing that you can do better than anyone else can do, and that is be the nurturer and the caretaker of your child. I know that you definitely had that conflict as soon as they laid that baby on your chest, and that is something that I feel all mothers have, is just that calling, that calls out, from their soul when they have that little baby and they know, okay, I want to be home with you every day of your life. Every step that you take, every breath that you take, I want to be right there beside you. I can speak for us as children of a household where we always had a parent at home.
That's right, Anna.
Our parents definitely made that sacrifice. And Mom was at home with us all throughout our childhood.
Yes, she was. And she really provided that stability that we needed as children growing up.
Definitely.
Especially coming from the islands here to America.
Yes.
And seeing the many sacrifices that our parents did just for us and coming home. One thing I know that I really enjoyed with my mom was that there was always a hot meal ready. That we were around.
I know you appreciate that, girl.
Girl, you know me. I love food, and I really appreciated our time that we got to sit together as a family at our table, at our dining table, and we had a meal. We shared a meal together.
We did.
We laughed together. We conversated with each other at the table, and that was something I really cherished, and I have taken with me till now with my children, is being able to sit together as a family and my mom being able to do that for us.
I mean, I know everyone's dynamic is different.
Yes.
You know, your circumstances are different, but that was something that I cherished about having a mom at home.
That's
Yes, so mom definitely provided that stability for us. Just having a parent home all the time,
that's right.
never walking into an unknown situation,
Yes.
coming home from school,
Exactly.
and knowing that she was gonna be there, and she just created an environment where we were happy to come home from school.
Yes.
We enjoyed coming home from school. It was so fun, and it was just when we walked in, it was just a place that we knew we could rest, we could enjoy the day, we could do our homework. It was peaceful. So mom really set the tone.
She definitely set that tone and the standard for us girls as moms. Too.
Yes, yes, and
because if she can do it, we
can do it.
we
Right,
can do it.
exactly. And the thing is, because as children, we didn't understand the sacrifice that went into mom having to be home.
That's right.
And
We didn't.
dad being the sole provider.
Exactly.
We didn't understand all that our parents did. But now, as adults,
moms.
we totally
Yes.
appreciate all those things, and we understand how blessed we were to have a parent in the home at all
Yes.
times.
That's right, Anna.
And so for Sally, when you had that confliction, or when you were conflicted with that decision of staying at home and going to work, what was the deciding factor that made you, go ahead and make that decision and commit to it, that, you know what, I am going to stay at home. I'm going to walk away from the workforce. I'm going to walk away from everything that I was building prior to having babies. In the way that my career was moving, I'm going to go ahead and stop the momentum, and I'm going to change directions and stay at home.
It hit home for me after I had my second, Harper. I did have a back-to-back pregnancy and birth. And so after I had Harper, it was then that I knew I cannot keep this up. I cannot keep working away from my child, and I needed to be at home. For me, it was a decision. I mean, I had to step out on faith as well. So I did pray before making that big decision, praying and trusting and believing that what God says in his word of being able to provide, that he would be able to do that for our family. What really helped at that time was being able to lean on both of you, because you guys were also stay-at-home moms.
Yeah.
And so that was when I made that decision, was after I had Harper.
Definitely. And I know that you prayed about that decision, and you also reached out to us to continue to pray as you were deciding to make that decision, and you decided to stay at home, and the benefits that came with you deciding to stay at home.
Oh, yes. There were so many benefits. I know it was a big change for us, and I had to really lean on both of you for advice how to do it, because I'm going away from adult conversations, like hanging out with adults, and now I'm talking baby language at home 24/7.
Yeah. You were in that Goo Goo Gaga season.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're still in that season.
I am, but not as much. Oh, yes. That's right. I do work now, but I stay at home and work. Yes. So Goo Goo Gaga and adult conversation.
Right. And we understand that, even though we're saying stay-at-home mom and working moms, we understand that a stay-at-home mom is a working mom.
That's right.
It does not take away from what a stay-at-home mom does.
Yes.
They work around the clock. The work never ends. And we just throw that PSA out there.
Yes.
We're not debating if a stay-at-home mom is a working mom. We understand the value of a stay-at-home mom.
That's right.
And I know that that's something that's so hard, especially today in the economy, in the world that we live in.
Yes.
Where a two-income household is almost necessary just to make it. We understand how much of a sacrifice it is, and it could also be a luxury. Looking at someone who does stay at home, and maybe you're not in a place where you're able to be a stay-at-home mom and you're a working mom. I can speak for myself. I was a stay-at-home mom for many years, and my youngest, who's 6 years old now, I finally have went back into the workforce, and so that was a huge decision on my part, because I knew what I was walking away from.
That's right.
And whatever decision I make, it's always with my family life, my home life, as a priority.
Exactly.
So it has to make sure, I have to make sure that it does not take away from that. I'm very blessed to have a job where I'm flexible. It's flexible enough for me to make sure that I have that time at home, make sure that I'm with my children, make sure that I have the energy, time, and space to, have those conversations with them. sit around the table and have dinner
Yes.
together, like you brought up earlier, Kim,
Exactly.
because that's so important.
It
Is
is.
having that time to break bread together
That's
and
right.
take the time to just to stop what's going on, just to stop the world and just take in your family.
Oh yes, especially with working, you know, and being able to come home and just have that family time, knowing, okay, this is the time we get to sit around the table and break bread together, and just the family dynamic. It really helps grow that relationship between parents and their children, and between the children and their parents, and then as siblings to each other. You know, that's really what grew our relationship growing up, and what I cherish till this day is having a close relationship with my siblings, because of having that foundation, because of having our mom at home and her having those meals where we got to sit around the table and just being at home all the time, learning to get along with each other.
I know that if you look anywhere on social media right now, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, if you see a post come up of a mom, maybe it's a mom doing her homemaking, doing her everyday mom things, or it's a mom going to work.
Yes.
You will 9 times out of 10 find in the comment section a great debate.
That's right.
Going on back and forth on whether a mom should stay at home, whether a mom should be working, what a mom should do, not do. Society has placed so much expectations on what a mom should or shouldn't do. And so for those working moms out there, maybe you're contemplating whether you want to stay at home or you want to leave the workforce and take that time to be the homemaker and raise your children. And maybe you're feeling judged. Maybe you're feeling guilty even of having those thoughts. Let me go ahead and tell you right now that wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, wanting to stay home and nurture your children is a noble, that is a noble decision. That is a noble decision that you can make. And so and also going to work, we understand the sacrifices that go into that. We understand the guilt that goes into that. I know a lot of times, especially when you return to work, Sally, after being a stay-at-home mom, when you return to work, you went through that mom guilt, and you had a rough start.
I had a rough start, honestly. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and then in 2020 is when I started. And that first day back to work was really hard. I remember sitting in that room amongst my colleagues and just thinking, there's no way I can come back tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to come back tomorrow. I think I'm going to go ahead and walk out today. But I continued to push on. I did have a hard moment in the bathroom, crying, pumping milk. So I had Ciala at the time. And so with working, I knew that I wanted to continue providing milk for her. And so I did have to pump, and it was just a really hard time. But I know I had to, once again, in this moment, the reason why I didn't leave that day, because I could have, the reason why I didn't leave that day, my first day back to work, was because this was something that I prayed for. There were things that I was asking the Lord to provide for, and He answered that prayer through this job. I definitely saw that year to be a fruitful year, because I just knew that this is where I needed to be right now in my life. And the amazing thing is, I ended up getting to work from home, which was exactly what I needed. So I didn't have to pump milk for that long.
He answered that prayer and more.
Yes, because I remember wrestling with that, because it was so hard to adjust on that first day. I was like, maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe this isn't the Lord's answer. Maybe this is not the way He was answering my prayer. But I stuck to it, and I know I had wrote in our family chat group, and Dad was encouraging me as well. It was like, if this, this is the answered prayer. And so after that first day, it got easier.
And that's sometimes what happens is you pray for something and then the Lord answers. Then you start looking for like a loophole.
You're like, Lord, I don't think that was it.
And it's like, wait, you gave me exactly what I prayed for.
Man, getting exactly what you prayed for. That should be another episode right there.
So I know that you had such a tough time with that, and you continue to just stay the course and
remain faithful.
Remain faithful. And look at you now. You're simultaneously working and being a stay-at-home mom because you work at home.
Yes.
And your little coworker Sienna is here with us today.
Yes, she is.
And so
she's not the best coworker. I think Daniel was better, but
right. So that definitely is a blessing to see that you're able to do that.
Yes.
And that's the thing, is that the Lord answers us with our best in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to see you thriving in that and still being able to do what you needed to do and have that time to stay at home with the children and be the nurturer and caretaker and homemaker in the house.
Yes.
I know that for me, being at work and coming home, it definitely is this is a new journey that I'm on. This is a new thing that I'm discovering together with my family.
That's right.
And we are learning how to balance things in life and balance the upcoming, my kids are older now, so they're gonna be playing sports and they have all these extracurriculars, and mom's working and but the most important thing that my husband and I know that we always want is that we want a parent in the home at all times.
Yes.
So whether he's out of the house or I'm out of the house, but we are never both out of the home. There's always somebody there with them, which is so important.
That's right. And as you have mentioned about, having that one parent at home at all times, whether you're both working or one is not working, one's that stay at home, I know both of them come with many sacrifices. Because I know for me and my husband and our family, I am a stay at home mom. I stay at home with my children. I've been a stay at home mom basically since I've had all my children. I did go to work for a little bit after my oldest daughter was born. And as I have mentioned in the last podcast, I was not surviving. I was like crying every day. But as my sister said too, when they returned to work, they were crying too. But I'm the younger sister, so I'm a big baby. So I was really being a big baby about it, that I had to go to work when I wanted to stay at home with my daughter. But I was lucky to say, after a couple of months of working, I did end up being pregnant with my second daughter, and that gave me the excuse to leave my work because, as I have mentioned, I like to stay at home. So, but there is sacrifices that do come with that. Being a stay-at-home mom, especially with the financial load, especially in the season of having little ones, and you feel like there's mess all the time. I've just come to accept the season that I'm in, and just because I know once they get older and they're in their teenage years and they might not want to hang out with mom and dad as much. They probably won't make the mess that they're making now or getting the walls dirty, and I have to constantly wipe it down from dirty little hands. But I have definitely learned to appreciate and just value being a stay-at-home mom and to really catch all those first. I know the other day I caught it on my phone and I uploaded it to our family Snapchat, but I was cooking dinner and we had just gotten my oldest daughter a bike. Today is her birthday, actually. She just turned 8 years old. So we just got her a big girl's bike with no training wheels, and she was practicing how to ride it, and she was frustrated for a while. She was very frustrated, and my husband went out there to encourage her and try to teach her how to ride this big girl bike. And I remember I was cooking dinner, and all of a sudden all I hear is, mama, come look, I'm doing it. And I ran out to grab my phone, and I just saw her with the biggest smile on her face, pedaling around on the grass, with this big girl bike. And she was just so happy. And that's what it means to be a stay-at-home mom, to catch all those first with your children, to capture those moments that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Like, this was a big moment for her, learning how to ride a big girl's bike. Because I remember when I learned how to ride a big girl's bike, and just being there for all their first, even their arguments, with everything that comes with being a stay-at-home mom. I truly cherish that.
Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. I know you mentioned something about, the mess.
Yes.
And so I'm going to jump on over to Anna and see, Anna, what were some challenges for you as the stay-at-home mom?
That's right.
Thank you, Sally. There were definitely a lot of challenges as a stay-at-home mom. And definitely with having littles in the house, they run the house.
Yes.
They do what they do. They're creating memories every day.
Yes.
Some of those memories are almost like nightmares.
Yes.
Once they get into the pantry, once they get into the flour and the sugar, and they start experimenting, and they want to be little scientists. And they,
because your kids actually did get in the pantry into the flour, and I remember it got everywhere.
Yes, and that is just a part of having children, and that's just the fun that goes into. It's fun now.
Yes,
looking back. Yes. At the time, being a stay-at-home mom, it was really frustrating, and sometimes it's challenging, and a lot of times it can burn you out as a stay-at-home mom. Sometimes you feel burnt out because you feel like it's repetitive, and every day you're waking up and it's the same thing every day, and here we go again, with the mess and all of these things. But those things are really looking back now, obviously I can say in hindsight that that's just a part of it, but when you're going through it, sometimes you feel like, what else is there than this? And that's that goes into the whole mom guilt and all of that. And then your babies go to sleep and you're looking at them like, how could I ever be upset at a little angel like that?
Every time they go to sleep,
then
yes,
right. And just hang in there, mama. If that's the season that you're in right now, and you're feeling a little bit burnt out, maybe you're spending your days running around after these kids and just trying to create a safe environment for them, while also making sure that your cup is full. I encourage you, whatever little passions that you might have. Something that definitely worked for me is that I love to journal. I love writing.
That is right.
I love reading. And so carve out a little time in the day for yourself to be able to, it's like a little outlet.
Exactly.
Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be big. Just a little something. Waking up an extra hour earlier than the children, having your cup of coffee, spending time with the Lord, maybe meditating in whatever it is that your goal is for today, just taking it day by day. Go ahead and do those things so that you have also carved time for yourself, and you prepare yourself mentally. And also, one thing that really helped me when I stayed at home was knowing that this is the way that I can worship God, and this is the way that
that's right.
Just through the way that I love my children and my husband and minister to my children is in the way that I take care of them, in the way that I am, doing my duties as a homemaker is also a reflection of my love for God and worshiping Him by taking care of the little people He gave me.
I know, waking up, when I have that time to wake up before my children or my family wake up, and really spend that one-on-one time with God and pray about my day and ask God, Lord, go before me in this day, because having little ones can be crazy. But anytime that I give it to God first before I start my day is always a great day. I always know how to handle the day, no matter what comes my way.
That's right. And sometimes you need to go to God in the middle of your day.
Oh yes.
I know for me, there was
amen to that.
Just last night. I mean, I was starting to get frustrated with the kids because their room was a mess.
Oh my gosh. Talk about mess.
Once it started getting ugly, I took that time to walk out of their room.
Let me calm down.
I had to pray. I wanted to vent to my husband, but I had to learn, let's give it to God.
That's right.
Immediately, as soon as I prayed a prayer, I was able to handle that task.
Right. I know for myself, there's times where moms, you guys understand, sometimes you get tired of your own voice, and sometimes I get tired of saying the same things over and over again, and it becomes repetitive, and then I'm upset. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and have a bad day because I'm upset because you are not listening to what I'm saying. And even though it's for your good, you're just not listening to it. And I'm so upset and I'm stomping my feet. And, and God is just like, well, here's a mirror. And the way that you are complaining about your children throwing a tantrum and not doing what they're doing, you're having your tantrum right now.
If you're teaching them something, they're going to hold you accountable.
Right.
Like, you have a story to share, Kim?
No, I was just going to say that's the one, because I've been teaching my kids, how to stay calm and work out their feelings, how to navigate through their emotions. And one thing I've taught them is to take their 4 deep breaths. If they get, if they get a little overwhelmed or they want to get angry, to take their 4 deep breaths And my children will call me out on that because, one day my husband, something was happening and they did something they weren't, what kids do. I remember my husband was getting onto them and my daughter turned around and said, Daddy didn't take his 4 deep breaths. And I remember I looked at him and he looked at me. He was like, what are they talking about? Because, he's at work and I'm teaching. I didn't tell him about that because I had just taught them. And I was like, oh, yeah, you need to take your 4 deep breaths. So it's definitely something my kids, because I've seen them, they actually do it to keep calm. Sometimes they don't, but most of the times they do. And they always catch me not doing what I've told them to do. So it reminds me, take your 4 deep breaths right now. Okay. And just calm down, mama. It's going to be okay. Okay, right. Enjoy the season.
Your whole household probably taking a deep breath every day, all the time.
I'm sure.
But anyway, not to get off topic, because I know we're talking about motherhood right now.
Just jump right in, and I'm sorry, but you had shared something about repetition, getting as a stay-at-home mom, being tired of that repetition. So I know for myself, what I found is once I got adjusted to staying at home with, at the time, Samson and Harper, I looked for free things to do because so we would do a lot of library events. They always had toddler time and they had yoga. They had all these fun things that the library held for free. And so I would take the kids out to those events because I wanted them to socialize with other children.
That's right.
And just get out of our 4 walls. Because
yes, I do remember you always doing that, always looking for the free events that our community held. And that was one thing I really did love, was being a stay-at-home mom, was that you were a stay-at-home mom too. And you were a stay-at-home mom too. And there was a season where we were always together.
And I love always. Our children grew up so close together as well.
We always went to the parks. We always had time to get together. And it was such a season that, looking back, I miss it so much because now my sisters are both working and I'm the stay-at-home mom, and I feel like we barely have time to get together unless it's like a family gathering. But other than that, someone just got off work and they're just getting there. So I really do miss that time where we were all stay-at-home moms. We really got to cherish our time together.
Right. And we got to lean on each other as well. So anytime someone went to the park, they would hit up the family messenger and say, hey, meet us at this park. And then someone will say, okay, I'll bring the snacks or the drink. And it was just a fun time, a fun season. I wish I could go back to that season. But the great thing about seasons is that they will always change. So although we're in this season, that season for us may come back.
And
again.
we may be in the next season missing this season.
Exactly.
So just worry about today.
Enjoy
tomorrow.
Right now.
Has troubles of its own. Please worry about today.
Yeah.
And don't worry at all, but just you have enough on your plate as it is. And that was such a great thing that you brought up, because as a stay-at-home mom, or even as a working mom, just a mom period, it is so important to have your community. It's so important to have friends, to have relationships with others that are in the same boat as you are, with those that understand what it is to have a toddler and a baby, with those that understand what it is to have a home that is just wild, sometimes, and not
it's wild,
not the calm aesthetic,
Take 4 deep breaths,
right. It's just so important to have that. It's so important to have that community. And social media, it can also be used as a tool for you to reach out to a community of moms. They have pages for everything these days.
Everything, even Facebook
groups for everything. So definitely plug in and
get plugged in for sure. I know that there are some moms out there that may want to stay in their 4 walls, but it's so important for you to get plugged in wherever you can, in a community or in a group of people that are going to help you and walk with you through whatever it is that you're going through.
Exactly. And for working moms, being at work, and I know that a lot of times you feel like you're at work and then you're coming straight home into homemaking. Chaos. You're leaving work and going into work. That in itself is a challenge. That's tough. How do you
balance that?
How do you balance that? What is some advice that you can give to a mama who's listening right now, who may have to deal with that? She's waking up early in the morning and she's going to work, and whenever she comes home, she's going straight into mommy mode, so she's taking off that hat and putting on her mama hat. And what are some things that she can do?
I'm definitely still learning. So some things that you can do, still finding that time to carve out for yourself, because when your cup is full, you're able to pour into others. And so honestly, I'm still figuring it out.
Right. I mean,
but the best thing is leaning on other people as well.
Exactly.
Having that community. So, and then maybe you need to write a to-do list, because I know most times I'll put it in my mind
yes.
and completely forget until it comes back to that thing that I needed to do, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Right.
completely forgot. So maybe a planner, maybe writing
Mhm.
notes on your phone, just some type of organization is going to
Right.
help out
Yes.
a whole
Oh yes.
a whole lot.
Definitely. I know for myself, when I'm leaving from work, I have to make a conscious decision in my mind to not bring work home. Not that,
Oh,
that's not that work is just so stressful.
right, but you definitely have to draw that line.
Yes,
and I know
exactly.
I work from home, so work is at home. So I'm still finding out. I just shut down that computer at the end of my shift.
Right, just
shut
out
it
of
down,
sight, out
no
of mind.
emails. Right.
I think it's very good for working moms that leave the home and work or working from home to have that fine line, to have that boundary, and to make sure that the exhaustion or whatever, the energy that I'm putting in at work, that when I come home, none of that is coming with me, that I'm giving my children the best of me, and that I am coming with this renewed energy and patience, and I know that every time I come home and I walk through the door, my children are always happy to see me.
Always.
Yes,
Yes,
they're
the
always so
children are always
excited.
excited.
Yes.
And it's so important that when you're coming through that door,
Yes.
that you're not just immediately ignoring
Right.
them.
That you match
or
that
walking-
energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Match that energy.
Right.
Because it really does something to them.
It's very important.
Yes.
Yes.
When you're coming home excited to see them
Yes.
too.
I know that when we were young, I would be so excited to see our dad walk through the door.
Yes.
Like when dad walked,
Yes.
and I'm talking about like I'm probably in high school and stuff.
Right.
Like,
But being
even
so
then,
excited, like as if we haven't seen him
Yes.
for days.
like
it's-
Dad, we have nothing for you.
Yes.
We're
just here to say hello.
we're just so happy to see you.
Yes.
It's not like he was coming home with gifts or coming home.
Right. Right.
It was just that he was gone and we missed him so much. And every time he came home, we were just so happy to see him. And one thing I'm grateful for is that he was also happy to see us.
That is right. There was never a time where he was like,
where he's like, oh.
Where he's like,
Right.
it's been a long day. Not right now. No, he always received us.
Yeah.
Warmly, and so it was always fun to see him come home. And I want to make sure that my children have that same those same memories and feel the same way when I'm walking through the door, that we are both so excited to see each other and receive each other. But yeah, those are some good points that we have brought up so far with being a mama, whether you stay at home, whether you work, finding your community, finding your friends, find your village, those who support you, those who understand what you're going through. And also every decision that you make as a mom, we know that those decisions are not made lightly, that every decision you make, whether to stay at home or to go to work, it's with the best interest of your children and your family, and that homemaking is a given. Whether you are in the home or not, your homemaking is important. It's a given. And that, our children are a ministry. And so it's so very important that whatever it is that you're doing, that your foundation is strong and the decisions you're making are based upon that foundation. I know that with my decision going back to work, I really had to talk to God, and God let me know, well, that I'm not leaving until it's time. There were a lot of opportunities that came up when I was a stay-at-home mom, and those opportunities, even though they were good, it just wasn't the right timing. It wasn't the moment that I knew God was speaking to me. And so when I did decide to go to work, it's because of the decision I made based on my conversations with the Lord and everything that he has been showing me thus far. And I know the same for you both as well, with staying at home and nurturing those babies that we love so much. So whatever it is, however we can join you in your walk, in those decisions that you're making, maybe you're contemplating, maybe you don't know which direction to take, and these conflictions that you're feeling, it's a noble decision. to stay at home and be with your babies, every decision that you're making for the good of your children, for your family. And so we want to support you. Please comment below what questions that you may have that you want us to address on our next episode, questions that you may have on how we navigated through some of the challenges that we had, or even something that we're navigating. Like Sally said, she's still trying to navigate,
trying to find that balance.
Between working and staying at home.
Yes.
So that's something that we're navigating together. And so that's why it's so important to have community. It's so important to have your people in this life. And I'm so grateful to have my people who are right here on the couch right next to me, doing this thing called life together, doing this thing called motherhood together.
And that's the thing, you're not made to do it on your own.
No, no. We're built for community. We're relationships, right? Exactly. And we're multifaceted human beings. We're not created. Life is not linear. We're complex individuals. We're made to be a mother, a teacher, a friend, a sister, a daughter, in all these things. And so we definitely lean into your people, into your relationships, your community, because that is where I know that I find a lot of the strength that I have to continue. So
same, especially in this season,
right,
Sienna. So
right. So thank you, Sienna, for joining us today. She is taking a nap. She just finished breastfeeding, and so she's out. She decided to leave the podcast without saying bye to you guys. I'm so sorry for that.
I'm so sorry.
But thank you guys so much for joining us again on another episode of What Anna Said podcast. We'll see you guys later. And please comment below how we can help you in your journey of motherhood, whatever that looks like for you. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.